Hi guys, so this is the Samsung Galaxy M13. It was released in 2022, but is it still worth it in 2025? Let's find out. Now, just like every other phone review on this channel, we'll start with the build quality and size. Now, I actually like this phone because you can feel it in your hand. That's something that I prioritize, and it doesn't weigh much, although it's a bit long, but it doesn't actually weigh much. As with every other Samsung phone you find on the side, that's where you put your SIM card. Then there you can put your earphones, then your charger, then the speaker on the right, as you can see from that video. Then on that side you find the power buttons, the power button and the volume buttons as well. So basically that's it. It has a very minimalistic design with soft rounded edges, so you can actually feel it in your hand. It's very comfortable. It's not like those other phones which have corners like at the edges. This one is a bit rounded. As with every other Samsung, I think Samsung sort of maintains that design very well. Then at the back you find the triple cameras. They will dive deeper into that as we go on, but this is the design. So if you are someone who likes a design which is more comfortable on the hand and which can actually fit in your pocket very well, then this is the phone for you. Now let's quickly move to performance. Now, one thing about budget phones obviously is people would assume that as with the budget or the price of the phone, it obviously means they sort of trade off on something, mainly possibly performance of the phone or the camera, etc. And you would assume that the performance of this phone will be a bit lesser than basically the price that it actually sells for on the market. But however, you find that this phone actually performs better as compared to its price on the market. So this is a very, very good phone, and it's something that you might want to consider as well. So it uses the Samsung Exynos 850 chipset, and this is an entry-level system on a chip, right? Primarily designed for smartphones, and it's particularly for those in the budget and mid-range kind of pricing. And you find the memory there, it's 4 gig, as you can see from there. So it comes with various options as well in terms of storage. You find that mine is 64 gig, and you can actually extend it to 128, right? And it's extendable again with a micro SD to 1 terabyte. So that's something that's great. So it delivers quite smooth performance, and it actually multitasks. I actually play a lot of games on this phone, PUBG, Major League Basketball as well, and they are heavy graphic games, and you can actually play those games on this phone. It does have some lag in some aspects, especially with very highly graphic games, but PUBG runs quite smoothly, and I think you'll find that the performance of this phone actually exceeds its pricing on the market. And now for the camera. Now, this is where you might say, well, there's a bit of a trade-off because it doesn't take quite nice pictures. That is if you are comparing it with like the iPhones or maybe the high-end phones, right? But if you are just comparing it budget phone to budget phone, then this is a pretty amazing phone, and it's a great deal. Particularly the triple setup of its cameras. So you can see those 3 buttons, 0.5, 1 times and 2 times, more like the iPhone kind of setup, right? Then it has many options as well. You have video, you have photo as well, and then you also have portrait. And I'll just test to see that's 0.5, that's 1 times, then that's 2 times. I've seen that Samsung prioritizes zoom to a very high extent, and you can actually see below it actually gives you more options. So that's 10 times. Now I'm actually a bit far from the kind of ground, so that is actually amazing. Samsung prioritizes zoom on pretty much every phone, even if it's high end or if it's mid range. They just make sure that they give you every sort of facet of their kind of range. So it has a triple setup, 50 megapixel main sensor, 5 megapixel the ultra wide, and 2 megapixel the depth sensor, and many settings as well, which you can play around with on your camera. So if you're looking for a decent camera, then this will definitely work for you. Now let's move on to the battery. Now battery is very important, especially when you're choosing a phone. No matter which phone you choose, be it high-end, budget, etc., you just have to look at the battery. Most people will look at the battery, and for this one, it's actually a very, very good deal. Now that's my battery there. I have a few apps, so it's not really using much, but I do have like a line which I hotspot, which is in this phone, so it pretty much uses the internet all the time. My battery capacity is 6,000 milliamps, but you can see 5,830 there milliamps. That's like the capacity of that battery. That's amazing if you ask me, because any battery, as we discovered for the iPhone 13s, that it's just above 4,000 milliamps, but Android usually goes around that range of 5,000, 6,000 milliamps as well. And that's a great battery if you ask me. And actually it also supports fast charging. It's a bit slower than other competitors around, yes, because obviously this is just a budget phone, so you can't expect much. However, the fast charging capabilities are actually there, and that's something that I love about Samsung. Samsung gives you pretty much all the facets of whatever they are offering. Now let's look at software updates. Now this phone was shipped with Android 12, that's in 2022, and right now in 2025 it's on One UI 6.1, that's Android 14, and that's the limit to which it can get in terms of stable versions. So I can't actually download One UI 7 because it requires Android 15. Unfortunately, it's out of reach for the Samsung Galaxy M13. So that's something you might want to consider if you are planning on buying even in the future. So you can't necessarily update to newer, more stable versions. However, Samsung has extended its security update for support for these Galaxy devices for up to 7 years. So you continue to get just minor security updates, but you won't get the major updates or versions. So in terms of updates, I think you might want to consider that, because with phones really live on updates. Getting new features, getting new programs or apps, as well as fixes, things like that. So that's something you might want to consider in the future. So I don't know about you, but I think the Samsung Galaxy M13 still remains a solid choice in 2025, especially if you're looking for something that performs better than its value. So something that if you look at its value, you might say, well, it won't perform as much. And with this phone, it actually performs really well, and it's actually very, very affordable. You can get it within a budget of less than 150. However, you have to consider things like software updates. You also have to consider a lot of things in terms of the networks and charging speeds, etc. However, the battery life, the impressive and large display can cover up for some of those things. So I actually think that this is something that can make you consider this phone even in today's age. What do you think? Do you think this is a good phone to use in 2025? If you think so, then comment down below.